Alright, so the materials you need for your pop art sculptured donuts are masking tape, some poster paper or newspaper if you have that. Really? Anyway, so what you're going to do is with that poster paper, you're going to rip it in half because you don't need that big of a piece of paper. You're going to make 6 donuts in a box just like this. So you need 6. So because we need 6, you're going to have 3 pieces of poster paper. You're going to rip 1 piece of poster paper in half. And then you're going to have a nice little square, something like this, okay? And once you have your square, this is how we're going to form our donuts. Very important you understand how we're forming, because a lot of times when you form your donuts, you think you're going to be rolling a poster. People like to roll the No, we're not rolling a poster. We are crinkling a piece of paper to form it into a sculpture. So because we're crinkling into a piece of paper, we are going to crunch it and crunch it and crunch it. And when we crunch it all the way up, we're creating volume. We're getting it big, right? We're not crunching it too much because we want it to be nice and big and round. And what we're doing is kind of crunching it all the way down to the end. Something like this, okay? Kind of get it all nice and round. Once you have your form all good, you get your Scotch tape. And let's talk about how to tape, because if you don't tape it right, it's not going to be correct. And you might be struggling a little bit. So let's go ahead and get our piece of Scotch tape. And I noticed when I had my 5th graders use Scotch tape, they didn't know how to break off a piece of tape. So when you break off a piece of tape, there is no pulling. There's no pulling, you rip it down, okay? So make sure you get a long piece of Scotch tape. Once you have that, you go ahead, get your donut, start inside of the hole, just like that, press it down. Then, once you have it all taped down, squeeze it and wrap it around to keep that roundness. Check it out. It's like a Band-Aid you just wrapped on top of a donut. You're gonna do that all throughout your donut to keep it nice and round and to form that roundness of your donut. And make sure you have a long piece of tape. You have little pieces of tape, it's not gonna work. All right, so the whole purpose of Scotch tape is to get rid of all these little pieces of paper hanging out all over the place. So I'm gonna go ahead and go around and around and around. You don't have to wrap the whole thing, just little parts that you see are kind of like not formed, all right? And you see how this hole might be a little bit too big for me. Because it's too big, I can just go into my other piece of paper and just get a nice little crinkle piece of paper and fill in that hole, just like that. You see I just kind of filled it in? Because I filled it in, I have to tape it. And to tape it, you get your big piece of Scotch tape, boom, put it inside the hole. Make sure your tape is nice and flat, and then wrap it around just like that. I'm all finished with my round donut. I have a nice hole in it. It's not too big, not too small. It's not perfect, but it looks good enough for me to go ahead and put into my box and keep creating. We're gonna make 6 of these round donuts. Don't tape all of the red paper. Just tape the little parts that are sticking out, and that's all you have to do. But I know what you're thinking. What about those donuts with jelly or cream inside? Those are those flat, round surface donuts like this. I'm gonna teach you how to make those in the next clip. Get your donut like you're going to make a hole in the middle, but instead of making that hole in the middle, bring it all the way in and put it like kind of curl it into itself like a snail, and then all you'll do is just kind of wrap it with your tape. And when you talk about wrapping it with your tape, obviously you're gonna need a big piece of tape, right? And you're gonna go ahead, make sure this, well, I don't need that big piece of tape for just wrapping it together. So first step is kind of wrap it together and make sure it's stuck together first before you start wrapping the top of it, and just kind of, it's almost like a little ball, like that, boom. All right, cool, so now I got my flat surface, and it's a little bit of hole in there. It's okay, I'll cover it up with some tape. So I get my tape, my long piece of tape, and just kind of wrap it on top. Try to keep the tape as flat as possible because the whole purpose of the Scotch tape is to flatten out the surface. And then I just kind of go ahead and make sure the tape is stuck onto the paper. I'm stretching it. And I'm just gonna continue to do that process. So I do urge you guys to do kind of like a rounder donut shape without the hole to give it variation when you guys have, you know, your donuts to design with your paint. All right, guys, I got my 2 work samples here. It's time for me to rock and roll. They look good, they're nice and tight and round. I even got a nice little cream-filled donut I get to design later when it's time to paint. Next step is to get your box that I have hanging out in the classroom and put all 6 donuts inside of them nice and neatly and put your name inside the box, and we will put these away for next week to paint. All right, so I'll see you guys later. Bye.